Everyone's, I think, got it worked out now. We'll just turn these mics off unless you're talking. Let's start with Ashley. Tell us your Hapara Teacher Desktop story. Sorry, Ash, sound.
Sorry, Roby, is that better? Excellent. So I said first again. That's what it was always like in school, having the initials AA, always first. I can't praise Hapara Dashboard any higher. It's just been fantastic. Clint mentioned earlier that to really monitor the students, they would have to walk around the classroom, and let's face it, they're not silly, so they see you coming and they'll close whatever they shouldn't have open. So it's fantastic to be able to monitor what they're doing, I guess in a sneaky way almost, because there are students who like to abuse the use of their Chromebooks and think, great, I'm sitting with my back facing this way, I can play a game or I can be on chat or things like that. So it's great to be able to monitor what they're doing, close their tabs, open tabs for them. You can message them, so you don't even need to make a deal of them being on something. You can just do it very subtly. And look, once they start to realise that you can actually see what they're doing, you can control what they're doing, the majority know that, okay, let's not use these incorrectly anymore. So for me, the remote dashboard and the current screenshot would definitely be the features that I use the most. They really help. I do look at what tabs they've got opened, but I don't really use their documents or their sharing tab on Hapara, but mainly, yeah, their remote control. And the students are really good now. They know that I can view them, and they'll just keep on task. So, especially with them being new, they all try to push the boundaries. So it's good to be able to rope that in very quickly. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you. Now, I haven't done any intros or anything. I'm just conscious of time, that's all. The people who are new to this session, since the last one, we've got Jen from Holy Spirit. We have Sam. Sam, are you on two different machines? We've got you in twice, which is fine. So that's Sam from St. Catherine's in Proserpine. We have Wayne from Good Shepherd in Mount Isa. And we've just heard Ashley speak. Ashley is one of the feeder schools to Wayne. So Wayne's the secondary principal, knowing that he better do something because the primaries have all got Chromebooks and they're going to be turning up into the secondary college next
We're
year.
feeling the pressure already, Roby.
But when we might just quickly hand over to you, you're here more just to have a look at what people are saying about the dashboard.
Yeah, look, I'm not going to be able to contribute much this morning to everyone. I'm here more as a leech trying to observe. We're looking at preparing our year 8s and 9s with the Chromebooks, and just would be really interested in the ins and outs and the intricacies of all the little things that go well and go wrong with it. So that's my interest in it, Roby.
No worries, mate. That's good. Let's hope these guys can give you some insight.
I'll be very appreciative.
Jenny, Holy Spirit has been a fairly big user of Hapara, even though they're not using Chromebooks. Jen, what's your story? Jenny, are you still there? Can you hear us? Oh, sorry, you've still got the mic, must be muted.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
I was just saying that Hapara for us, I think, as a teaching tool, is invaluable. And the reasons I say that is it clearly allows the teacher to have access to the students' work 24/7. So, you know, there's not this great rush to have to, you know, get this corrected because I've got to give it back, or it's on a Word document and I can't access it without my S drive or getting it on a hard drive and taking it home. So it is available to the teachers 24/7, their students' work, and I think that that is is absolutely essential in today's education in particular. And what it does mean, therefore, that the teachers can give the students feedback. So what I promote is that the teachers have a standard, it might be blue italics, and they can correct their students' work. They can provide feedback on that document just because they're sharing it. And they can do very much individualised programs. It's very much geared to differentiated learning because you can be giving those students feedback on the document. So for instance, I might open it and see the document at home or in my classroom, and I might say, this is fantastic, now take this information and I'd like you to make a Google presentation. Another child, I might ask them to do another task. But, you know, if I'm home doing it, when the children come to school the next day, I can say, okay, Sue and John, open up your documents, I've left your messages and so forth, and go on with your work. So there's that independence that's really, really an essential part, I think. The other thing for us is that we can display the children's work at any time. So we've got a computer lab that has the data projector at only with one computer, whereas our other lab, we have access on all the computers to the students can just get up their work. With the senior lab, I can get the teacher dashboard up and we can role model all the students' work. So it can be used a couple of ways. They might be creating something and I might say, okay, in the last 10 minutes we're going to share what you've done today and we'll bring it up on the screen and you can talk about us and tell us any little hints that you've found if we started a new particular Web2 tool or something like that. Or it might be to look at their work and then we might, as a critical friend, talk about a particular part, or the children might use it as a particular learning aspect for them. So it has some very, very strong teacher principles. Is that coming through to it? You know, can you see how that works really well?
Jen, do you mind just moving your camera a little bit down, because most of your face is covered by all of our little icons of other people.
Oh, okay. So it works, I think, extremely powerful as a tool for teaching. And Ashley, isn't it, obviously referred a lot to the discipline side, and I've worked in mainly secondaries, and clearly it would be invaluable for that as well, and as a way to collect the students' work, so that they're not having to share all the time and doing a whole range of things that you see happening with people asking with Google, or how can I, get my students' work? Well, with Teacher Dashboard, it's there. You can go home and it's there. So you can just open it and correct it, print it, assess it, do whatever you like. And you're not actually having the physical copy from that perspective. I think that they were the main things. We use it, other teachers can clearly do some moderation work as well, in looking at other classrooms, the work of the students around the school, so you're not just geared to just your students, or you're not carrying great big loads of paper around looking at what other students are presenting. So I think it's actually more critical, I think, in a sense, than if you've got Google, I think it's critical you've got Teacher Dashboard. Put it that way.
How's it been working in terms? Do you feel it sucks up bandwidth?
Sorry, Roby?
Does it suck up your bandwidth, and does it have an impact on?
No, it hasn't, to our knowledge. It hasn't been one of the factors or anything. We're pretty good, as you know. But no, I haven't had any of those problems. The other issue that's been raised is the email issue, but I think you're fixing that next year. We haven't had an issue with it because we've got primary school students and they were told that we would be have access to their emails. But I know teenagers might be a different circumstance. And the other thing was, one of the schools had a very good survey they did using a Google form, and the students had to identify through a form themselves, whereas our agreement with students goes home and the parents sign it with the child. But this particular was an online agreement form, and it just was quite clear to the student that their emails would be accessed from time to time if necessary. We use the security occasionally, but in a primary school we haven't had a big need for that in terms of desk control, looking at what they're doing on the internet. We've got one child at the moment and one teacher, and that teacher is viewing that child's. And we had, I know, one incident last term where the students came up and said to the teacher that they felt one of the children was looking at inappropriate, and it was one of the strategies we could use to check. But we don't have many instances of that. But in my secondary experience, remote desktop was pretty highly used.
Well, I might just, I'll hand over to Sam from St. Catherine's. Thanks, Jen.
Hello, everyone. Is my mic on? Roby, I started at the beginning of the year teaching Year 8 IT, and all the students had Chromebooks, but unfortunately our Hapara wasn't operating effectively at that time, so I haven't spent a lot of time with it. I'd actually really like to get some staff training with it. I'll be teaching IT again next year, so I'll spend more time with the computers and using the program, so it would be good. On the issue of emails, in our parent sessions that we have about the Chromebooks and the program and the Chromebooks and Google Apps, we make it really clear to them that the children are getting these Chromebooks as an educational device, and that the Google Apps is provided by the diocese for educational purposes, and if they want to use it socially, they're emailing, or they want to Google Chat or do any of that sort of social networking, that they use their own, use other programs for that, so that if we do use Hapara, that the access to emails is just to check on educational use of it all, I think, and that they're very clear that it's very clear that if they want to use it for any other purpose, they use a different account. Sorry. Sorry. Yeah, so I'd like to get some more training, I think, on Hapara and using it. The kids know we can access all those things, and we do have a few bandwidth issues, I think, where it's difficult to see all the screens when you do open the Hapara. And yeah, so I think when I'm using it more next year, I'll be able to nut out all those issues and what's happening with it and how people are using it. I don't think the staff have had enough time or training or introduction with it.
It used to, when we first rolled it out, and I know Hapara worked really closely with Ashley and Kim and Kim, just to work out some issues. It used to just sit there, and the circle would turn, and you couldn't. It wouldn't actually let you see the kids' desktops. But in the last 2 months, that's been sorted, and the feedback we've had from the Mount Isa schools is that's just not an issue anymore. They've changed the way in which that technology is pushed out.
Yeah, and I think for us it's just that we haven't been spending time on it, say, this term, this semester, to see it work. And I've never quite got my head around getting to the students' documents, so I might give Jennifer a ring and have a bit of a run through on how to use it all at the beginning of next year, and do a hangout and check out how it works.
Well, so we're very much in our infancy with the use of Hapara. We're only in trial. We haven't yet paid for any licensing, but we're going to ask people now to commit, and we'll have to pay for licensing next year. Now,
so also on that, I don't know if anyone's had a look into the parents. We have probably the biggest question from parents is how do they manage how their children are using Chromebooks? So when they you know, some parents are looking, say, next year at having 3 children in their house with a Chromebook and using Google Apps, and one of the options Hapara does have is a parent portal, and whether that would be helpful for parents to check on how their kids are using the internet. Just something else to have a look into.
So I was just going to say too that, and you feel a bit sorry for Gilroy when you hear this. St. Catherine's has got a 20 meg fibre connection, Clint and Andrew from Gilroy have only got a 10 meg fibre connection. St. Catherine's does. They've got a wireless bridge that connects their fibre connection to their primary school, and it all happens across wireless. So that's not ideal because we just put 4-8-second fibre connection. Holy Spirit, with nearly 1,000 kids or over 1,000 kids, has 100 meg, 40 meg NBN connection. So we've been using that to trial the NBN stuff with CNET and just seeing how it'll work with Zscaler and all the other issues, all the the proxies in the back end. I thought it was working swimmingly, and then the boys have said to me yesterday or earlier this week that there were some issues with the NBN connection. So this isn't the time to report on that, but I'm just letting you guys, I'm just giving you the perspective. Here's Clint and Andrew trying to do what they're doing with 70 Chromebooks in the school, as well as the other kids who are connected on a 10 meg connection. Holy Spirit's got a 10 meg, 100 meg, 40 meg, and St. Catherine's has got a 20 meg connection. So, yeah, bandwidth, I'm guessing, that definitely is having an impact on people's experience. Karen or Frank, did you want to add where CNET is at with all of this at the moment? Frank might have just stepped out or something, no? Well, while Frank's coming back, Karen, what are you guys doing at Wagga at the moment?
We have one school that's piloting Hapara. It's a secondary school, and they have it in 5 of their subject areas. It looks like we'll probably roll it out for our secondary schools next year, but we're not sure about the primaries at this stage.
Excellent, thanks. Frank, you back? No, it looks like we've just lost Frank for a little while. Rocky Group, or Clint and Andrew, you guys, I'm guessing, are just here to listen to what's being said about Hapara? You there, guys?
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry,
That's the wrong button. Yeah, no, we went to that Mike Redding thing, and where he talked about it briefly, and it sounds very interesting, and we're very keen to get more information about it and see if it's something we could implement here.
And in your context, it would be silly to then stick that over the top when we already know that there's other issues. So I think we need to look at it very holistically.
Absolutely.
Will any comments from you guys? All good? There's 2 links on that document. They're really good Hapara videos. And if you guys are following the Sydney CEO, they run these regular sort of hangouts on air where they record everything for people. And I know that Matt Wells did a Hapara one, and he goes through it very slow. One of the things that I have discovered only recently is I'm going to stop making slow YouTube videos. I'm just going to make it really fast, and then people can slow it down themselves. I've decided. When using video as a learning source, you don't need to do it the way you teach a class. You don't need to repeat things 10 times. You just say it once, and that's it. It's up to them to then rewind. And I'm only just learning that now. So,
with your license, with the Hapara licenses, can you just you can get as many as you require in the school. You don't have to get that. You don't have to get one for everyone if you're just doing it with one class or a couple of classes or whatever. Is that how you've been doing it now with your trial?
Well, one of the issues we have had with Hapara, and we need to talk to them to see if this has changed. We weren't interested in one-off things. We wanted to push all of our Darcian users in one hit. So we were looking for a pricing structure. If we're going to push 11,500 students to Hapara, and only 200 of them are using the resource, we didn't want to be paying full price for the suite. So whilst we're waiting for the usage to catch up with, usage to catch up with its actual the product, and they didn't have a business model that allowed for that. So to now move to a model where one class in this school is going to use it, and another class in this school, it'll be a management nightmare for us.
Yeah.
We've got to keep pushing these classes, and as they change.
But that's what you've done up to now, is just send the spreadsheet in for a particular school, is that right?
We automate, so our data drive dumps all the kids into the right format for Hapara, and we push it to a particular holding space that they've set up, and they then consume it at their end, and it just automatically sets the kids' accounts up. So the automation for us, if we're going to just do it for subsets of the diocese, it means Pete's going to have to build an interface where Wayne can say, jump in and go, I want Hapara for just these classes, and he'll just go tick, 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 and then it's only going to push those kids, and we only pay for those licenses. But we haven't built that.
So because it's free at the moment, you push it for everybody.
Because it's free, we've pushed it, I think, to 8 schools or 10 schools, something like that, and given them a chance to trial it, and hence we've got people with the experience of it. And now my understanding is through seeing it, you guys have all got access to free trials. Every school's got access to a free trial next year. But I think that the big game, the main game, is to try and get big licenses with Hapara and get some good pricing on it. Yeah. And Sydney has already got a great deal with Hapara, and those, I understand that we fit under their umbrella.
That's correct, Roby. You get access to the pricing that Sydney's negotiated.
Frank, you're back. Was there anything else you wanted to add?
No, I'm sorry I got called away to do something just then. I just came back in when you were talking about Hapara licensing. Yeah, as you rightly said, Sydney did do a deal. I'm uncertain of exactly what elements it covers, but it's significantly cheaper, and it's available to any school or diocese within the CNET Federation. And it also takes into account that there's one of the vendors has built Hapara licensing for year 1 into their bundle.
Okay.
So you get that for nothing.
Now a little note to everyone: if you're ever doing this, give time between hangouts, because we've just jumped from one hangout to another. It's these poor people in here. We've got another one starting, I think, in about a minute. So I'm going to have to thank all of you guys for participating in this one. And unless the people, I might just invite any of you who aren't staying for the next one on pedagogy. Please feel free to go. There's Glenda, Kim, Karen's already there, Frank's already there, and Alan I've already invited. So I might just invite Glenda and Ken, and I'll leave this hangout open until they... Let me just do that. So just bear with me, guys, while I invite the only 2 people who aren't here at the moment. So Wayne's there, so that's Google Apps embedded in pedagogy. Jenny's there, Glenda, Kim, Karen's there, Frank's there. Is Alan in any? Alan hasn't joined, has he?
No.
No. I will just Kim and Glenda.
You could put him in there and invite him, but if he's available, but he may not be available. That's what I told him.
Yep, no, he's definitely invited. So
Yeah,
he's
I
already
definitely invited, right.
he's in this hangout now.
Okay.
You guys, thanks for being patient. I'm going to invite 2 more people into this, and then we'll continue with the next session on pedagogy. So I'm going to add people. Where is it? Add people on the keyboard. Well, first of all, sorry, I'll let the people in this group introduce themselves. Right, yeah, let's talk about teaching learning.
Hi, I'm Lorraine Johnson. I'm APC at Chanel College in Gladstone. Paul Hamilton, I'm from the Curriculum Unit in County Education Office. Anthony Woodham from Chanel College Gladstone. I help with the IT support.
What's this? Somebody playing something in the background. Okay, somebody is playing our video and we can hear you.
Thank you very much. On the left, we've got Ashley.
Is that me?
We've got Cleve and
double overlap.
It might be me.
Oh no, it's Rachel.
We've got Frank and Andrew from Gilmore.
We can hear another hangout.
Fantastic.
Oh, time delay.
Hey, could I just ask everybody to turn their mics off? We'll try and establish where this other hangout's coming from. It's gone? That's good, okay. Well, welcome everyone. This is the session on pedagogy, so hopefully it'll be the most exciting. Since I have got Kim there with her class, and I know that they've only got limited amounts of time, I'm going to throw straight to you, Kim, to share your story. Now we still can't hear Kim. You might have to turn your mic on. No, still can't. I wonder what it is. Still no good. You might have to go to the little cog next to the red phone and just check that your microphone is.
Roby, can you see me? I just had to step out. I've just been playing on a couple of things.
Jenny, we can see you, yep.
Okay, I can't see you, so it'll be me.
Okay. Sorry, Kim, we still can't hear you. I don't know what it is. Are you using a Chromebook or are you using your laptop to try and get in? I'm just going to put some comments in chat. You may need to switch. Oh. On keyboard, sorry. Let's see. You may need to switch to laptop. So you might dial back in. Now, you guys will start the conversation. Did anybody want to share the sort of curriculum things they're doing? Ashley, you're first cab off the rank again if you'd like to start.
I'm here just to learn this time, Roby.
Okay.
I've got my class back, so they're just beautifully sitting here silently, so I'm trying to monitor them as well as participate, so I might just listen for this moment now.
Oh, no worries. Well, in that case, I might actually start to share a couple of things. I couldn't even hear you, Roby. I've just got some messages coming in from Kim. Sorry, guys, I'll quickly respond to her. Hi, Kim. Did Kim join us before?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll just say everyone else is okay. Please check.
She's there now, Roby.
Roby, are you able to help? Are you able to hear me now?
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, I just signed out and came back on, so hopefully that's all good.
Okay. Well, good time. Ashley was about to say, she's just here to now listen to someone else.
You cut out then, Roby. Do you want me to talk?
Yes, please.
Okay. Well, my kids have. I just put the question out to them about what some of their favourite things that we did with Google Apps are throughout the year. So they've actually got a few of their own answers. So I might hand it over to my kids if you can bear with us.
We use Little Bo's Tales to write our own stories.
Can you hear them say that?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Great.
Next one.
We use forms to submit our assessments.
Big voices.
We use blogs to answer big questions. We use Bubblers to create mind maps instead of drawing them in our books. We use ABCR to put together all our ideas. We use Wordle to put together all our ideas. We use Google to play activities on the Chromebooks. We use Printpressor to create our articles. We use research tools to find information for our assignments. We use sites to share our work with our parents. We do KWL charts on Google Docs. We use 12 Canoes to learn about Aboriginal traditionals. We use different apps to learn different things. We use Google Docs to edit our work with Miss. We use the Maths app to do our maths test. We use Fling the Teacher to learn about prepositions and phrases.
So that's just a few from our class about some of the things that they enjoy doing using different apps and tools.
You guys sound like you're working on your Chromebooks all the time.
Sometimes it feels that way.
Would anyone else share? But before I do that, I thank you very much to Kim and Tom Curry.
Say thanks, guys. Bye. Thanks, Roby. We'll talk to you soon.
See ya. Now, is that echo still there? I'm just checking if that was Kim's machine.
It's gone now.
Okay, that's good. Should I take you through the IVL stuff, or Glenda, did you want to talk about some pedagogy things?
No, sorry, I joined a little bit late. Sorry. Hello, everyone. Hi, Ron.
Hello, Glenda.
How are you?
Glenda's our principal from St. Francis Hewenden, who's just joined in. Jenny, did you want to take off the discussion on pedagogy?
Well, what we've found with Google, we're really been impressed with the whole suite. Originally, of course, starting with building our sites and making it a whole school focus so that everybody would have the same strengths and there would be a massive amount of support around the school, because it is a big project to undertake. It has become our learning management system, basically. So it needed to be something that was focused on a whole school approach. We feel we've been very successful with that. And it's meant that our class, we have our staff intranet, our student intranet, the teachers have their own year level class pages, and then they have their own individual class pages. So there was a lot of scope to do some professional development to get teachers on board. And then within those websites, you have that lovely functionality of using Google Drive within your curriculum. The websites, of course, are that tremendous communication link for families, broader community members. It means that for us too, and I have put a few slides together for your visitors, Roby, I sent it on an email, and it does demonstrate quite in a graphic way just how we have built our website so that we have been able to deliver the curriculum very effectively. So we have within that website, the staff and the student, the ability to be able to swing off into any unit of work we're doing, and we've built it so that every teacher can see what every other teacher in the school is doing. So that has really helped a lot with professional development and access to what other curriculum topics they're doing with their classes. So with the sites built and on their units, their curriculum term units, Then the teachers are able to embed the documents that they build. They can decide if they want the students to make a copy or whether they want them shared in a class particular topic, the assessment they're doing. They've got presentations that they can use to present their work. Within documents and presentations, you've got the Magic Research, the Tools Research tool now, which has been a fabulous innovation. And that supports bibliographic citation. It supports the students not having to go out onto the broader Google tabs. They can just do that within that Tools Research. So it's been really quite an essential build into that program. So you've got them able to present, presentations can be shared so that you can come into class and the children can all be sharing a particular document or presentation just by naming cells or presentation slides and nominating them for the children. So there's a lot of collaborative work that can occur, not just in whole class but in small group. So that's a very strong aspect of it. And then of course you've got your nice forms. So they all lead into each other. And so, you know, the children research using the documents. They could have made a copy that was initiated by the teacher, or they could have done their own. We're very particular about our research grids. I'm a big advocate of ensuring that the students are well supported in their research online. Far too much information coming at them. Far, you know, important to have the skills for that child. So we have our little data grids and they use those. They can copy and paste into one column. They must show us for authentication their own words in the other column. So I've used that for a number of years very effectively, and with that lovely research component that works well. So they go from building the data that they're collecting into presenting, whether it be a presentation or a prezi or an essay they then rewrite on their documents. And then what we've done as a nice feature is with the forms, the form could be used as a lovely pre-test. So what do you know about the topic? It could have a KWL or a concept map on it that the teacher may have devised, or just simply write 100 words and tell me what you know. There can be pre-test. It can, the form can also have the value. What we've done is ask the children to make a quiz. So they do the presentation, and they then, using that information, devise a quiz that they then share with all the students in their class, but potentially all the students in that Year 4 level, for instance, so that the actual strengthening of curriculum and knowledge and transfer of information and creating that deeper learning and understanding is continually transferred using the Google apps. It's wonderful. And then, so, you know, primarily I guess that there, and then we might use forms for evaluation ourselves for testing or reflection. You know, what did you think about this? What learning did you think you know, that 100 words again is a fantastic tool. Get the kids
I'm just a little bit conscious of time. Your PowerPoint, are you able to put a link to it where all the people put their email addresses on that document, on that Google Doc?
I think I have. Just check. If you check your emails, I emailed it to you. And I also just did a really lovely, with that lovely Web2 cartoon, I just did a nice little 2-minute brief overview as well that you might like. Playing with the tools. You know, we just think Google is wonderful here, and we're very appreciative that you brought it in, Roby, because it has really strengthened our learning and teaching.
Oh, that's great. I'm going to spend a little bit of time sharing with people the IBL project. If I just hit enter here, and I've sent you all a link. So this is staff.tsv.catholic.edu.au. If you remain logged in the way you are, and I'm assuming you're all using your Chrome browsers, if you open a new tab, I'm hoping if you type in start.tsv.catholic.edu.au, it will actually open up. Now I'm going to share my screen here.
Sorry, Rogue, I'm just going to pop downstairs. I have to do a duty, but I'm going to take my laptop down, so I'm going to exit out and dial back in. So I'll see you in a couple of minutes.
Are there going to be kids there? We might get you to talk to us while you're down there.
Yeah, they're just on their way back from the pool, so they'll be,
Okay.
they'll be coming.
All right. Well, see you.
See you soon.
Okay. I'm just going to start screen share here, and I'll get some feedback from you guys as to what you can see. If I move this, okay. Tricky with these hangers, just got to make sure that the thing that is persistent is the screen that you do want recorded. Hang on one sec. Okay. So I need to move this out of the way. Are you guys seeing my screen?
Yep.
Great.
Yep.
So I'll open up the agenda again. Where was I doing it? Hang on a sec. YouTube here. Google Apps embedded in with pedagogy. Click here. So you're now seeing this opening. Does this open for you guys? When you went to Start Dot, did it actually open our homepage?
Yes, it has.
So you would have opened, I'll just go back to the screen that you would have. You've probably got this screen in front of you. Just hang on a sec. You're looking at that screen?
TCO Internet.
Mm-hmm. Now I'm just curious, so people here from Rocky, does that open for you?
Where's the link in our email?
I just put it in the chat window. It's start.
Oh, okay.
It's just start. START dot.
Yeah, but we haven't got it.
If you just open a new tab in the Chromebook, in your Chromebook,
Yep.
So just open a new tab and type start.tsv.catholic.edu.au.
Start TSB.
Catholic.edu.au. So all of our jump-off pages for all of our schools is start dot whatever the domain is, Ryan dot sjmtsv dot etc. Right? I'm asking you to open this because I have shared this to a group that I have always believed was all staff in CNET. So if you're a teacher at any school anywhere in CNET, you should have access to this page. Unfortunately, that's as far as I can guarantee, because any content that is now pasted on here from any of our projects, if they don't share it to that group, you're not going to get access. So because we're not the managers of every bit of content on here, so I'm now going to work my way down to somewhere on here. Actually, it's under Celebrate. So under the word Celebrate, we've got our 2013 IBL Wadcasts. IBL is our inquiry-based learning project. I can't guarantee that you can open that because I'm not sure this has been shared to all CNET
My page was
staff.
your page.
So,
I can, Obi.
great. Frank, you're seeing IBL Online 2013?
Yep.
I am, yep.
Yep. Now, what we've done, when we have teachers coming in here for professional development, early in the piece, we have the conversation with them, and we tell them that what starts off as something in your class could very quickly have an audience of the school, can very quickly have an audience of the diocese, and can very quickly have an audience of other dioceses. So we try and encourage people to share their stuff, either to anyone with the link, because then if somebody brings you to that page, it's going to open for you, or share it to this super group that that CNET's created for us. Now, there's no point in me telling you what that group is because we have renamed it. We take the CNET super group and put it into our own naming convention, and that's what our teachers use. So we use all _CNET_staff_local at tsv.catholic.edu.au. Anything shared to that group, everyone can see. So here is a bunch of podcasts that was the culminating reflection from all the teachers who took part in IBL, and you're welcome to click and open and watch them. Just don't do it now, because you'll have all this background noise. I'll just quickly walk you through this as a project. We hired a lady called Dr. Jenny Naylor, who was our facilitator and mentor. Teachers came here 4 times during the year, and there was a lot that they were required to do. So if I just open the August program guide, for example, it spells out, and you can see it's all done in Google. So all of these, the whole program was done collaboratively between our curriculum team and Jenny. So when they authored these things, it was all done in Google Docs, embedded into websites. It's been quite exciting being a part of these sorts of projects. And you can see it's all hyperlink type web-based stuff. There is, what's some of the stuff? If I go to sharing practice and I go to our blogs, you will see a page very similar to what Kim showed you. And I know Kim Ballinger uses something similar, and I know that Ashley's using something similar. So this notion of getting people who are doing stuff to tell you where the stuff is, so you don't have to go looking for it, and it's all in one place. So these are the blogs of all the participants, all in one place. If I pick Ray Carmichael, for example, from Holy Spirit, and click on it, and you'll be able to do the same, it takes you to a blog. Now, in this project, they had to reflect on each of the AITSL standards. So they had to hyperlink to evidence that they had met these standards, and they had to reflect on the learning framework values from our Townsville Cathedral learning framework. And there's our values there: dignity and justice and inclusive communities, etc. So throughout the project, they were looking for evidence of these things and slowly building up their own digital portfolio. The aim here was to introduce teachers to a methodology that hopefully they can use with their kids. There's absolutely no reason why we can't get kids having a continuum of what they're supposed to learn, and they can constantly be reflecting on where they are and where they're about to be. They can be linking to sites that help them learn it, you know. So it was to introduce people to that whole web-based way of thinking. Now, I won't harp on this. If you've got access to it, by all means, open it and have a look. Some of the work that teachers did was just, it was quite spectacular. Any questions or comments? I've got to stop sharing my screen. Now, this is a bit of a trick. I've got to find the Hangouts window somewhere in amongst all of this. Where is it? This is where it gets tricky. Google Hangouts. There it is. I will stop sharing my screen. Okay. So participants, any comments or questions from you guys? I know Glenda was a part of that project. Glenda, do you want to input from wherever you are?
I'm from downstairs at the moment. Yeah, I think, so I was involved in the IBL project a number of years ago, and I think, Roby, since we've moved over to the Google Suite, the stuff that teachers are doing with their students now it just blows my mind more and more each year. Like, if you compare it to 3 years ago to what they've done this year, and I think a lot of it's got to do with the Google Suite.
So, hey, are you in the middle of a storm or something?
Oh, it is actually. It is a little bit breezy. We hope to get a storm later.
Okay.
One can pray at the moment. Hey, probably Rocky's in drought too, are they?
Yeah, it's Rocky.
Getting a little bit of rain, but yes.
Well, look, just move your camera around. It's not often we get a chance to see Winton firsthand. Hughenden.
I was going to say I can't even show you Winton, Roby. I can show you Hughenden. All right, I'll take it for a bit of a walk. This is my school. I'm actually downstairs at the moment. So if I look upstairs.
Very quiet. Engaged in productive learning or something?
They might be, yeah. They've just gone back into class, and I'm just waiting for the 5, 6, 7s to come back. We usually don't have towels hanging over the balcony, but we've come back from swimming, so it'll be noisy soon when the 5, 6, 7s come back.
Well, thank you for sharing that. You guys here in the room, or people who are on the Hangout, please ask some questions. Are there things you'd like to know, or?
Yeah, that's a great concept that you use with even just that simple concept of using the forms to collect their, to collect the links to blogs, but also in the classroom collecting your links to your student work, all in one place. When you're using Apara in this enterprise, you actually use the whole suite. Is that right? Not just the basic part, but actually with all the add-ons.
In our trial schools.
Yeah.
Ash, do you want to? It sounds like Ashley's using the whole suite. Let's see what she says. Sorry, Ash, you'll need to turn sound back on.
Yeah, sorry, Roby. I was just telling the class to be quiet. We're talking about the whole Hapara suite.
Yeah, are you using the remote desktop and the parent modules, the whole works?
No, I mainly use the remote control features. I think it was Jen who was using much more of the features of it. I use forms to collect all of our assignments and things, so I don't rely on the data sharing component of Hapara, just because for me it's much easier to have one document that I can access all of their things from, and it's so much easier to recognise who hasn't submitted something, because if I haven't got 21 items there, I know someone's missing, so it's a faster way for me. But I can see how using Hapara would be beneficial if I have a student who's not shared their document before submitting it. I can use Hapara just to go through and access it. So it is useful, but it's not the route that I choose to use most often. Yeah.
Okay.
What about the newsletter feature? Is anybody using that?
Yes, you wanted to talk louder.
The newsletter feature with Hapara, is anybody using that?
Sorry, I still couldn't quite hear what you were saying.
The newsletter.
There's a newsletter feature. Have you used that?
To be honest, I wasn't even aware that there was a newsletter feature. What does that involve?
I'm not too sure. I just read it on one of their Hapara forms.
Maybe it's a part of this parent portal. Yeah. So look, I suppose we're still relatively young in the whole Hapara thing. We've just chucked it out there and given people a chance to give us some feedback, and there's enough feedback here. So I think our next step is just to ask people who's the license. We'll have to find a way to distribute it.
Roby?
Ashley, in your case, I noticed using your cow that you have in the staff room, in the classroom there, you mostly use your Chromebooks as shared devices rather than one-to-one take-home devices. Is that right?
In Year 7, we have one-to-one devices. They're currently about to roll out a shared cow down in our library that can be used for the younger grades who won't have a one-to-one device. So at the moment, every student has their Chromebook numbered, and when Roby was out here originally, they set up their profile page and their picture, so when they go to log on, they know if it's not their picture they're looking at, that they've grabbed the wrong Chromebook.
And do they take them home?
Sorry, what was that?
Do the students take their Chromebooks home in Year 7?
Do they take them home?
Yeah.
No, ours stay at school. Using Chrome, the students can access their work from home if required. However, we tend to do the majority of our assignment work at school, just so it can be monitored and we know exactly who's doing what.
So you have some that are using the younger year levels that are shared, so you obviously have different students using the same Chromebooks, is that right?
In our classroom, we don't, but the library we're about to. We're in the process of purchasing just a set that can be used for classes brought into the library. And I'm pretty sure the way we will do that is that every student will be assigned a number, so they will always use that same number. So if 3H came in, Abby would be 1. If 5W came in, Simon would be 1. They'd always use that to minimise the amount of users on each Chromebook.
Okay, good.
When we rolled out shared machines, originally we thought we had to turn off the offline thinking feature because you didn't want a student opening a Chromebook and it would then suddenly pull their whole Google Drive down onto their Chromebook because they hadn't used it before. But having offline feature turned on is critical because if you lose connectivity for a second, if you've got offline turned on, the student doesn't even notice, they just keep working. So we figured that was important. So then we decided if we're going to turn the offline thing on and also not flush, there's a setting that says flush the student's profile as soon as they log out. Well, again, when they log in again, it's going to be pulling all this stuff down. So we've left the flushing off so it doesn't flush, and we've turned offline on so it lets them work in offline mode, but we only allow, I think, 2 or 3 maximum kids to share the same device.
So they still can't see each other's work.
No,
it's logged in, but nevertheless it's there.
That's right.
On the device. Okay.
And as Ash was saying, if 3 people are sharing it, you open the lid and there's 3 little faces looking at you, and you can only log in on your own. So.
Okay, I understand. That's great. Thanks, Ashley. That's great.
Any other comments, you guys who are watching on? All good from Wagga?
It's always all good in Wagga.
All good. Frank, all good from CNET perspective?
Yeah, I'm thoroughly enjoying this. I don't often get visibility into what's happening in the classroom. It's fantastic. It's really exciting to see. Loved seeing those students earlier too.
Yeah. Well, you guys, thank you very much. These guys in this room have just gone from one to the other. I'm going to try and give them a little bit of a break. Do we have any more for today? I can't even remember. Yes, we do. So we're going to go off and have lunch. Actually, we've got the start. We've got the landing page. Right. Let's just go to that now. I'm just going to check to see any of you guys who weren't interested in the landing page conversation. Please feel free to leave us. And who is joining us for landing pages? Let's see.
I have to head off, Roby, but I have put some information on that little presentation. But good luck to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jen.
Thanks, Jen.
Exploring School Intranet. So there was Sam, Karen, Alan. The Sam isn't there at the moment, and Jen's had to leave. So I'll just invite Sam in. What is it? S. Hinton at PRSPNE. So just one sec.
Folks, I'll have to drop out for a little bit. So thanks again, and I'll join in again later. Cheers.
I'll just invite Frank, Sam in. And then let's look at some landing pages. What's the easiest way to do this? I can invite, are any of you guys online there with a landing page and you'd love to share with us how you're using it and what you're doing? And the degree to which it's been useful? Doesn't look like too many takers, so I might show you some of. Ash, were you about to show us, or you happy? All right. Well, let me show you guys a couple. I'll quickly share my desktop again. Start I'll go to full screen mode. Start screen share. Oh, hi Sam, you just joined us. I'm just going to do a quick question, Sam, where I share my desktop with people. I'm going to open up and show everybody. Let's see. We don't want that one. Just bear with me one sec. I don't want that one. Let's try this one. Okay. If I go to, I'm going to open up a couple of pages. Here is our intranet page, and the jump-off pages for all schools are designed in exactly the same way. So there's 60 odd intranet pages that we created. One for every school staff. One the staff intranet page, and the other student intranet page. Let's look at Ryan. So let's go to start.ryan.catholic.edu.au. Now I'm assuming that people out there can see my screen and everything that's on it. That's a yes from external viewers. You guys can see what's on my screen?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm still not sure. Ash, can you see what's on my screen? Oh, you can, yeah. So you can, I'm just assuming you're looking at the Ryan page.
Yeah, you've got the Ryan Catholic College page up right now.
Oh, great. Now, you can see on the left, they just put all their morning notices, and you'll find that this is used daily. So what's on the left-hand side is today. And this is where the teachers get their supervisions, and they're all of their calendar entries. The nice thing with Google is, if the school shares its calendar, and you come along, and you click on it, you go to the bottom here, and you click on the plus, any calendar that is on that calendar page, it'll prompt you, would you like to add it? So see, it's asking me now. It's asking me, would I like to add these to my own calendar? And I can say either yes or no. And then any event on it, so say I add the staff intranet to my own, the Ryan staff intranet is now a part of my calendar. It's there in orange. If there's something that I want to take part in, I just click on year level assembly, for example, and if I click on that event, it instantly lets me copy to my calendar. So for teachers, they have a glance at it. If there's anything that is of use to them, they never have to type it into their own calendar. They just click it and copy to their own calendar, and it's done. So that's one of the ways they're using it, and that's what all of our schools have on the front of theirs. I'll quickly take you to the student intranet page for Ryan. This is very interesting. For students, the main use of their intranet page, well, again, there's student notices and stuff, so if kids forget or didn't manage to make it to roll class, they can simply call up their own notices that they've missed. But there's this calendar here. Now you look at that and you think, that's not all that useful, there's too much stuff on it. You don't use it like a traditional calendar. What you've got to do is, you, what's the best way to show it? If I go to Agenda View, you will notice that they use a very strict convention. So all the teacher aides at the school have been taught, and all the department heads, they will code all of their stuff based on their timetable codes, and everybody puts it in this way. Now, what's the advantage of it? I'm going to hit plus here. So I'm a user, I'm a student. The moment I hit the plus sign, it prompts me which of these calendars do you want to keep. Because that one calendar you are looking at is really a combination of all these others. Right? It appears as one, but it's really all of them. So if you're a Year 10 student, you might just choose the Year 10 one and add it. And now close. So now here are all the Year 10 things. Now, I happen to be in KWA's class, so up the top, if I just type KWA and sort on it, instantly I've now just got access to the things that my teacher does. If I want to put more information in, well, that was a good choice because this teacher must only teach one subject in year 10. Then I just click on that because I'm obviously in that subject and I store it. And you can do that for each of your teacher's assessments. Now, you obviously have to teach kids how to use this, otherwise you open it up and it looks like a million entries in a useless calendar. But you teach them how to search and you teach them what the conventions are. It's a really effective way for them to build their own timetable. So that is the Ryan intranet. Let's go to a different one. If I go to start.Southern Cross.
Roby, I can show you our student one too if you like, because it's completely different again because we're in a primary setting.
Oh, excellent. Permission for the Southern Cross one, so maybe that's a good little segue into Glenda. I'm just going to minimize this, stop sharing my screen so you don't all end up with a mess, and we're going to hand off to Glenda.
I've just got to find it now, it'll just be a minute.
That's right.
While she's doing that.
Questions? Well, yeah.
Yeah. How do you manage to set those pages for different schools?
So the question from Jason was, how did we set the home page for different schools? Google lets you, when you open a domain up, it lets you make up like a nickname for a website. So we decided that even though the start page is this long Google address, we can just call it start.da. Now, if I was in a multi-school tenanted model that you guys are in, I might use the school's code at the beginning. So it might be, what are some of your school names?
We've all got coding now, like CCG.
Yeah, so you might use like ccg.catholic.edu.au, or that is then your homepage, and that's your start page. Some conventions so everybody knows how to find each other's start page easily. And so you make up your Google site, and you can go to the back end of it and say, I want to name this site ccg.catholic.edu.au. So I'm not sure if we have to make C names or anything, because these were all done a bit of a long time ago, but I can dig back and find out and share that with you. Okay. Okay, Glenda, how'd you go? Did you find it?
I think so. Can you tell me, can you see that now?
No, you have to go to the screen share or something and share that particular browser page.
Yeah, I thought I was doing that. Okay, hang on a minute.
We can now.
You can see it now?
No, we can see it now.
Oh, okay. So ours is just our sstart.sfsh, and this is what shows up for our students. The approach we've taken is our most useful sites, so the sites that we have subscriptions for, etc. We've put the links down the left side here so that when the students click on the picture, it will take them straight to that website. Yeah, so that's for our actual start page, and then the kids can just access their mail, etc., just by clicking on that.
And can you just, while you had that up there, Glenda, can you mouse over some of those options, some of the menu items? Is there much there at the moment?
Along the top?
Yeah.
Change password. Resources is just CEO resources. Not so many announcements. I just have on our intranet page just things that are coming up. So when I'm putting stuff in the calendar, it's whether I'm sharing it with the staff or the students or both. So if I press both, it shows up in the student calendar as well. And then this other link here, the last one is for Gmail, calendar, Drive, and sites.
because Google took away the black bar at some point. Yeah.
They did, and they've since changed it to those 9 dots.
Yeah.
Just to confuse us even more.
What are the sorts of questions that people have about start pages? I'm sure you've all got your own ideas for start pages, and
we've got I guess we've got a different setup, you know, than towns will, you know, with our 2 domains.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so on. And we've got our staff portal, which is the same across the whole diocese. And then currently we're still phasing out MySuite at the end of the year, so we have a link to MySuite. But basically we've got in a school they have their I guess the equivalent of the student portal is basically a student landing page which allows them to link to all their classes, you know, like their prep to year 7 class pages, etc. We've got, similar to Glenda, we've got links to Mathletics and
the main
whatever the particular school's using. But at this, I guess we've used a similar model to what Sydney had in terms of building their pages, but you know, we're always looking at better ways of doing things and so forth. And in your case, you basically started with a standard page and then copied it. Is that right? Across,
yes.
So you've got 30 student landing pages and 30 teacher landing pages. Is that right?
Yeah.
And how do your schools then? Let's say there are things that are pushed out from the diocese here. Let's say you run a, you know, like we have what's called a Bishops in Service Day. You'd have something equivalent, like a PD Day. How do you get that onto your student? Onto your teacher intranet?
Well, see, we don't. That would sit on our start.tsv.pip, our start page.
Yep.
And because we've shared our start page with all of our schools,
yep,
and with you guys for that matter, if they wish, they can have a link on their page to ours, which I think many have. It's not on the student. You just saw then the student portal.
Yep.
On the staff portal, there's a link to our start page. Okay. So when we set My Internet up, it was a different approach, right? It was a Dacian heavy.
Yep.
We get everyone to come to our page first, and then they go find what they want. And what people did was they'd move all the Dacian stuff, which they never wanted to use, down to the bottom.
Yeah.
And they'd move all their stuff up to the top. So we thought, well, why muck with that? People want their own stuff at the top. If they want our stuff, they know there's a button to click. So we've sort of went in the background more than.
Okay. So when a teacher logs onto his or her computer and goes to the browser, let's say they go to Chrome, the first thing they see is the staff intranet page. Is that right?
That's right. So it's pushed out through group policy or in the Chrome management.
So they see their own staff intranet page for their own school, and then there's a link on there to the diocesan page as well. Is that right?
I'm not 100%, but maybe we might just quickly check it. Start screen share again.
Because obviously, if there's some communication comes out from the office here from the director that needs to go to teachers immediately, like how do you do that?
I mean, you wouldn't do it. We wouldn't be doing it through them coming to our homepage. We've got a public website with its Facebook and Twitter feeds and all the rest of it. We'd send an email. And the email thread to the principals, and they'd distribute. We wouldn't do it by expecting people to be looking at our website.
Okay. So like registrations for a diocesan-wide event, let's say, this is something we do quite regularly. But if you want, if you open up registrations and teachers get to choose workshops or whatever, and it's a diocesan-wide event, and you want to push it to teachers, you would send that as an email to your principals first to go to the teachers.
Yeah, that's
how you do it.
Glenda, would you agree? Is that how we would do it? It would go to the principals and then end up at teachers that way?
Sorry, I missed half that conversation.
Sorry, Glenda.
Kids asking me stuff.
Yeah, it was just a question I had around, if there was a diocesan event and that involved registration to workshops or whatever, and it needed to be pushed out to every teacher, where they make their choices and log in. Would that normally come to you via an email, or would it appear on the would that appear on the staff intranet?
I think it would depend who was organising it as to how we would find out about it. Ideally, I think Year of Grace was a Google form, wasn't it, Roby, to register for that? I can't quite remember now.
I mean, we've got our standard process is because staff have to register and they get hours and stuff. It all happens through our kiosk. So that's they use Quiz 21 to register. But how do we communicate it to them? If it's being driven by curriculum, it gets communicated to the principal and curriculum developers. If it's being driven by RE, it gets communicated to the principal and APREs. It's still email. We don't have this expectation that people must be coming to our website to find messages. Right? That's just not the way we've done it, and we haven't shifted to that. Yeah.
Where we have a portal which all our staff land on.
And that's where
that's really, so you can bring it up and we can show you what it looks like. Basically, it's just a basic portal with newsfeed items and links to their licensed services, and then off to their own individual services.
And see, we would argue that there aren't that many messages that we get to the everyday teacher. In fact, it's minuscule.
What we've tried to do is minimise the push type approach to communication with all staff, because we've often found that it's difficult to get the message out to all staff because you email it to the principal, but that's where it stops.
Right.
Whereas
yeah,
but that's reality. You know, it happens with lots of things. Sometimes it gets to the principal or gets to the APRE or whoever, and it may not necessarily be communicated. So we've got a portal which lands all our staff towards.
Primary stuff.
Yeah, and secondaries. It's there for secondaries as well.
But doesn't the landing page?
No, it's not the secondary landing page, but it's a requirement text that all schools have it.
So your landing page for your students, is that the first thing they see when they log on to a, let's suppose they're not using Chromebook, which is a normal device, they go to a browser, the home page for your students is your student landing page for the school, is that right?
Well, yeah, in our validation, so all the techs have got these jobs to do, right? So when they go to their schools, in group policy, they have set, first of all, we expect everyone to open Chrome. And then we push to Chrome. If you're a staff member, it opens to start dot, whatever your website is. If you're a student, it opens to sstart dot, whatever your school domain is.
Sstart.
It's got an extra S, so student start page, right?
Yep.
Now, I haven't been hard about it. If a school is not really using its staff jump-off page, we gave it to them and it's got everything on it. It's got a single button for them to mark their role, and it's all the functions that a teacher does lives on that start dot page. And there are a lot of services that a teacher uses daily that get delivered by us, so everything is on that staff jump-off page. And I might as well, I'll just quickly go to it and show you. But if that's not what the principal and the school wants to use, and I can't think of any schools where that isn't the case, we wouldn't force them then to keep it. They would probably then change their group policy and end up somewhere else. But as far as I know, that is the way it is at the moment. So I'm just...
So you would have Chrome browser set as your default for all teachers and students, or teachers probably have a choice of what they set as default, or is that set?
No, it's definitely it's the Chrome browser, because if they're using Google Apps, there's no point.
No, that's right. And is there anything you find with your Chrome browser that you have difficulty with? You know, websites that...
Here, our own SharePoint, our own role marking. So here's the role marking. So here's an example. I'm not just going to Ryan because it's the only school that does it. They've all been set up like this on the staff portal. Okay. The student portal is really up to the school what they push out to kids. But these are things like the Scoodle link, and so there's under resources what most schools would have, and it's a mixture of stuff we deliver and the stuff the school itself delivers. So Spine Out, Library Webs are all things that Ryan must pay subscriptions for, so they've added it themselves. whereas that's the Scooter Link is standard. If you go to password change, that's a critical thing in our diocese. We hold everybody accountable for what happens on their account, and that's students and teachers, and we will not accept this business of, oh, someone knew my username and password. So therefore it's critical that they can change it, because we'll always turn around to a kid and say, well, if they knew it, you should have changed it. Now, if that's the case, it's got to be easy for a kid to change a password. And it's got to be instant for that matter. So we've got a password change link on student and staff intranets, and any schools who don't push that because they want the kids to have the same password and the teachers to know what it is, we don't support that, because from an acceptable use point of view, we feel that the user has to be responsible for their identity and they've got to manage it.
Yep.
Right? So, because they're now on the web, otherwise they shouldn't be using it. So,
okay, sorry, just one question there. See your search the side box.
Yeah.
Now you can turn that on or off, but normally it pops up in your banner at the top. How did you get it under your title there? You come down under there.
Did